Zac Gallen with an ADP of 104.5, Grayson Rodriguez also 104.5, and Hunter Brown at 107.5, SP 31 through 33. And Gallen had a weird year. Walks went way up, led to a 126 whip. He dealt with a hamstring injury early on. Maybe that affected him for part of the season. He did figure something out in September when he had a 267 ERA, 104 whip, and 12.7 K per nine. Again, that's Zac Gallen, former top pitching prospect in Grayson Rodriguez, who is still searching. He was okay last season, but we need more. And I think he wants to give us more. He gets a good amount of whiffs, keeps tinkering with the pitch mix. On top of everything, he went on the IL twice last season with shoulder problems. And then we have Hunter Brown, whose season got off to an awful start and then flipped on a dime. His final 22 starts, a 231 ERA, 109 whip, over a strikeout per inning. And during that time, he changed the pitch mix, more cutters, more sinkers. 26 years old. He's entering his prime. He's on a great Astros team. So I could see there being some excitement for someone like Hunter Brown. Scott, what do you think? Excited about Hunter Brown, Grayson Rodriguez, or Zac Gallen?
I would draft any of them at cost here. I don't know that that's the thing. 15 to 50, I'm having a hard time ranking them. Am I going to pick out individual ones to be excited about? I'm trying not to. If I need whip help, these are probably not the three to draft. So I'll put that out there. But if I'm doing okay in whip, they're fine. And yeah, I would say that if you are looking for untapped potential, Grayson Rodriguez stands out among the three of them. It is kind of a head scratcher why he hasn't been better. He's been okay, but the swinging strike rate, 13.6% last year. He has several pitches capable of generating whiffs. Walks aren't a major issue for him. Home runs aren't a major issue for him. It seems like he should be better than he is, and I think it's just the finer points of pitching that he needs to smooth out, like pitch selection and other things. So if he took a leap this year, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm kind of ranking him expecting a leap. And so you have to pay for that upside, I feel like. As for Gallen and Brown, Gallen is in the same category as that fivesome I mentioned earlier, Aaron Nola, Pablo Lopez, Max Fried, in that for most of his career, we've regarded him as an ace in fantasy. He is going significantly later than them, and I rank him significantly lower than them. And I think part of that is because I worry about his health. He's had he has a UCL sprain in his past and had forearm issues last year, and things were just kind of looking weird, as you pointed out, when he came back from that, with the swinging strike rate being just plain bad and the walk rate being just plain bad. And he did kind of turn things around, but
found it again. Yeah.
He's in a precarious spot here, I think, in terms of health, where I don't totally trust it. So I think that's part of it, why he ranks below them. But part of it is I think maybe we mislabeled him in the first place as an ace caliber pitcher, when really it was just 2022.
Yeah.
When he had a full season where he looked like an ace, and 2021 was pretty bad. 2023 was just, it was good in like an Aaron Nola sort of way.
I mean, it's Aaron Nola, right?
I think the best scenario is Aaron Nola for Gallen.
Because he had the forearm strain in 2021, right? And that I feel like sticks in our heads. But last year it was just a hamstring issue that he missed time with. So he hasn't had an arm injury in 3 years now, or four within the last 3 years. He found it again last year. It's more of a command profile than a stuff profile. He's never going to look good by the stuff metrics. But I don't know, man. It feels like a pretty good bet for a mid-threes ERA and 200-ish strikeouts, right? Like he feels like a pretty solid bet to get to that 185 innings. He got 192 strikeouts and 220 in consecutive years. Last year, if not for the hamstring, he probably gets there again. So yeah, I like Gallen. I think he's pretty good. He's not great,
like I said, the swinging strike rate is just plain bad. So I have concerns that the strikeouts are going to go away.
But it's always been not.
Yeah, it's always been like Zac Greinke. Like obviously that is a lofty comparison, but Zac Greinke never had huge swinging strike rates.
It was a 10% swinging strike rate. So it was like, it wasn't just not huge, it was bad.
But was that
very Mitch Kellery.
Was that significantly worse than it had been?
I think he's usually up over 11, right?
Okay. That I don't know. His season was weird. He had a stretch where he couldn't get any strikeouts or swings and misses. He had a stretch where he was walking a ton of batters, but the fact that he got it all back.
You're right about the swinging strike rate. It's usually he had 1 year where it was over 11.
10.8% for his career, 10.6 last.
Like that's just so. I think that's just who he is.
But then there's the walks. Where did the walks come from? Because the walks brought about a 1.26 WHIP.
Wasn't that right? Mostly after the return from the injury.
Even in September when he was really good, his walks were still high.
Yeah,
and we've seen stretches like that from him before, particularly when he first came up to the majors. I don't know. It's just it. I'm fine with him where he's going, but I'm explaining why Gallen is not getting the same benefit of the doubt that like a Logan Webb is getting, you know.
Chris, do you have any interest in Hunter Brown? I feel like we haven't talked much about him.
I am struggling with Hunter Brown because he's giving me, sorry, I'm very fuzzy on the video right now. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to fix that while talking. It didn't work. Hunter Brown is giving me some Mitch Keller vibes, and I don't quite understand why. And maybe I'm just not being fair to Hunter Brown because the swinging strike rate was a lot better, but like he doesn't have the one killer put away pitch. It's weirdly a pitch to contact profile that got a lot of strikeouts over that stretch last year, but it was really like early on in the stretch, May and June, he got a lot of strikeouts. July and August, it was maybe a strikeout per inning, maybe a little lower. And so it all feels like the 3.50 ERA is probably what I expect and not the 2.50 ERA, which maybe that goes without saying, but I think people might look at the 2.50 ERA stretch and say, he can keep that up. And I don't know if I expect that. I think it's a good pitcher. I don't think Hunter Brown's an ace. I'm more excited about Grayson Rodriguez. I think Grayson Rodriguez, like Scott said, it all feels like it should be better. It feels like it's just a tweak here or there from really taking off. He's 25 years old. He's got good command. He's got great stuff still. I would like to see him go away from the slider that he used last year and back to the sweeper, which was a just significantly better pitch. And I don't really understand why he went away from it. Had his best results on balls in play as a rookie, had his best swinging strike rate as a rookie. It was a great pitch. And I don't really understand why he went away from it in favor of a harder like slider / cutter. And that might be it. That might be the path to unlocking it, is just that strikeout rate takes another step forward to 28, 29% if he gets more whiffs with a breaking ball. And all of a sudden we're talking about one of the best pitchers in baseball. If I'm going to make the bet on someone in this range, I'd rather do it on Grayson Rodriguez than anyone else.
You know, Chris, I want to be in on Grayson Rodriguez as well, but is it hypocritical to want to be in on him, but also being out on Hunter Green? Because I get that they're different profiles, but Hunter Green just had the much better season. They were both highly regarded prospects. Grayson Rodriguez was higher, but Hunter Green just did what we want Grayson Rodriguez to do, and we're downplaying him. And they're both coming back from injuries too. So it's like, I don't know. Is that hypocritical?
Well, I guess the dismissive way to put it is history didn't start in 2024. Grayson Rodriguez was viewed as the much better player every year before 2024. And his results in 2023, not great, better than Hunter Green's. And I think the injury history is less concerning because it's a shoulder injury. It was a lat injury. he went on the IL in April for about 20 days with shoulder inflammation. Last year it was the lat, which that's happened twice now. He had the lat injury his final year in the minors. Now it happened there, but that to me doesn't feel like, it's not a labrum, it's not
like a rotator cuff. Right?
Yeah, a rotator cuff or certainly not an elbow. And so I'm just a little less concerned about the injury risk with Grayson Rodriguez than I am with Hunter Green, who's had Tommy John surgery, has had, I believe it was a labrum injury and a UCL sprain. So I'm just a little more optimistic about Grayson Rodriguez figuring it out. And also, 2 rounds cheaper?
And the ballpark too. I think that
much
helps as well.
Better ballpark, although will be worse than it was last year. You have to factor that in. We can't be excited for Jordan Westburg and not factor it in for the Orioles pitchers. It will be a slightly worse environment, but not a bad one.
Even if it's an average ballpark, it's still a much better pitching environment.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Especially because Hunter Green is a fly ball pitcher.